It was a Sunday, December 7th, 1958. Ken and his wife, Barbara, were still buzzing from the Christmas party they'd attended the night before. The festive spirit lingered, and they decided to make a day of it, gathering Christmas decorations with their three daughters, Barbie, 14, Virginia, 13, and Susan, 11. Late in the morning, the family of five piled into their 1954 Ford station wagon and left their Portland, Oregon home. They had a plan: collect greenery to craft Christmas wreaths together. But the next day, Monday, December 8th, Ken's boss, Taylor Eccles, at Eccles Electric Home Service Company, noticed Ken hadn't shown up for work. When he tried to contact him, he discovered that Barbie, Virginia, and Susan were also absent from school. Concerned, Taylor called the police that evening and reported the family missing. The case of the missing Martins began, but there were few clues to follow. The sudden disappearance of a family of five left the police scratching their heads. Despite extensive searches, investigators couldn't find a single clue about the family's whereabouts, not even their station wagon. 2 weeks after they vanished, the first hint of what happened arrived in the Martin family's mailbox. The Medford Mail Tribune reported it was a gas station receipt, signed by Kenneth Martin, showing he had bought 5 gallons of gas on the day they disappeared. Interestingly, no money had been withdrawn from the family's bank account since that day. This receipt pointed investigators to Cascade Locks, the last place the family was seen. However, this lead, like many others, led nowhere. Then, hundreds of tips started flooding in. People from all over the country claimed to have seen the family. Some sightings placed them in Hood River. A waitress at the Paradise Snack Bar swore she served them, and a waiter recalled seeing 2 ex-convicts who were later arrested in connection to a white Chevrolet, leaving right after the Martin family. Several motorists remembered seeing the family at dusk on the north bank of the Columbia River. One woman even claimed to have had a vision, saying the family was in water by a totem pole. Despite all these tips and sightings, the police were no closer to finding the missing family. Authorities didn't give up their search in the dense forests around Portland, covering a massive 50-mile radius. Then in February 1959, they found a chilling clue: tire tracks on a bluff overlooking the Columbia River, matching the family's 1954 Ford station wagon. It looked like the car had gone off the cliff. Could the Martin family have plunged into the river by accident? Determined to find answers, the Army Corps of Engineers even lowered the water level behind the Bonneville Dam. But despite their efforts, the car remained elusive. Time passed without any breakthroughs. Finally, in May 1959, over 5 months after the family vanished, the bodies of Virginia and Sue Martin were discovered floating in the Columbia River. The official cause of death was drowning, but Virginia's body had a mysterious hole in her skull. The advanced state of decomposition made it impossible to determine the exact cause. The whereabouts of Kenneth, Barbara, and Barbie remained unknown. Did they meet the same fate, or were they still out there somewhere? The Martin family tragedy left only one survivor, Donald Martin, the eldest son, who was 28 and serving in the Navy at the time. He was stationed in New York, far from his family's home in Portland. Donald didn't attend his sister's memorial service, but he did come back to settle their estate. "I can't think of anyone who would want to harm my family, but I don't see how this could have been an accident," Donald told Detective Walter Graven, as reported by Coin 6. Detective Graven dedicated years to unraveling the mystery of the Martin family's disappearance. His investigation led him to a disturbing suspicion Donald might have been involved. In his notebook, Graven wrote it had to be planned out by. The name was scratched out, but an investigator's computer enhancement suggested it was Donald. One crucial piece of evidence linked Donald to the case of blood found near a stolen white Chevrolet with an LA registration, abandoned in Cascade Locks, 40 miles from Portland. Bonnie Cox, whose husband discovered the gun, said it was completely coated with dried blood from whatever they had clubbed to death. The Coxes handed the gun to the local sheriff, but strangely, it was never processed for evidence. Later, detectives connected the gun to Donald Martin. A few years earlier, he had worked at a local sporting goods store and was fired for allegedly stealing goods, including the handgun found near the crime scene. As the case went cold, Detective Graven jotted down in his notes, "Even though no one is willing to help, I believe there's no murder that can't be solved." Despite his determination, Graven never cracked the mystery of the missing Martin family. He passed away in 1988, and Donald Martin followed in 2004. Now, over 60 years later, the disappearance of the Martin family remains an unsolved. What really happened to the Martin family? Did they meet with a tragic accident, or was there something more sinister at play? Witnesses saw the family on the north bank of the river at dusk, but by the time they were back on the south bank at the Dalles, it was already dark. This is where their car plunged off the cliff and into the river. Could it have been a case of exhaustion and poor visibility? But this theory leaves many questions unanswered. For instance, who were the two ex-cons spotted following the Martin family out of the Paradise Snack Bar in Hood River? These men were later arrested for stealing a white Chevrolet found nearby. And then there's the intriguing story of the Martin family's eldest son, Donald. His connection to the gun found near the stolen car adds another layer to the mystery. Donald didn't return to Oregon when his family disappeared. He only came back once, in March 1959, to settle the family's estate as the sole beneficiary. He didn't even attend the memorial service for his baby sisters, Susan and Virginia. Instead, Donald inherited the estate, moved to Hawaii, married, had children, and reportedly never spoke of his parents and sisters until his death in 2004. By all accounts, Donald had a strained relationship with his family. His parents, Ken and Barbara, were strict and religious. After Donald was caught stealing from Meyer Frank, they sent him to a Christian college, which he left to join the Navy. But the biggest rift came when his parents discovered he was romantically involved with another man. This revelation caused significant tension as Ken and Barbara were vocal in their disapproval. Donald was clearly the black sheep of the family, but did he go so far as to hire two ex-cons to drive his parents and sisters off a cliff? The police never managed to confirm or disprove this theory. It's a chilling thought, but without concrete evidence, the mystery of the Martin family's disappearance remains unsolved. What do you think happened to the Martin family? Do you believe there's more to the story than what we've covered? Share your theories in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest videos. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.